Right. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Victory Arts Seminar. And today we're presenting, Parikrama Rai will be presenting the second part of Branding Basics Every Artist Should Know. Please be respectful to our host and everyone present. And Pari, whenever you're ready, can start.
Yes, thank you so much, Angie, for that introduction. So guys, I've prepared the second half of Branding Basics Every Artist Should Know this time. It's a follow-up workshop or presentation to our last presentation where we spoke about a couple of different things that can be useful for a lot of artists to know when branding themselves. So I just have a quick recap slide over here. Last time we spoke about the difference between what a product is and what a brand is. So again, a product is what you sell, a brand is why people buy it. Why it's important to distinguish yourself from the crowd, because no matter which market you enter, and in this case we're talking about art, there will be a lot of competition because there's a lot of different people who are also looking to become artists. So, and money is limited, so people are forced to choose between you and somebody else. Now, when you distinguish yourself in certain manners that matter to your end customer, then they will have more reason to purchase from you and give your work more attention than somebody else. Then we also talked about the importance of taking your personal brand into account in everything that you do. So this was a lot about brand coherence and brand consistency. We spoke about how a lot of old legacy luxury brands have basically incorporated their branding into the types of celebrities that they choose, the types of faces that they choose, which hopefully will change over time, the types of scenes that they show in their advertisements, the type of packaging that they use, the type of language that they use, everything is branding. Then finally, we have how consistency allows people to associate certain aesthetics, ideas, and words with it. I think you remember, we spoke about the difference between Chanel and Kenzo, Chanel being a very old French brand, and how people have continued to associate, people automatically associate certain designs, certain aesthetics with Chanel because they have done it repeatedly. So, for Kenzo, how Kenzo is distinguishable within the luxury niche by simply being the weird one. So that's what we spoke about last time. Today we'll be talking about more practical things, about how you can actually implement some of these ideas into your daily, artist entrepreneurial journey. So like I said, today we'll talk about some practical steps you can take to build your own brand as an artist. So the first thing that I want to focus on is, last time we spoke about why it's important to distinguish yourself. However, I feel like there are a few things that we need to remember before we get into distinguishing themselves. So like when I was looking for quotes about being different, I saw a lot of different quotes about, oh, you should be different, don't follow the crowd, don't be afraid to be different, be afraid to fit in, don't be be like the lion, don't be the I don't know, the sheep, the crowd of sheep, or I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. And if you think about it, everybody wants to be different, right? Like I want to be different. I want to be this guy. Everybody wants to be this guy. But when you are providing a service for people, and like I said, this workshop is for not for artists who like, only do it for the love of it. Of course, it's also there, but also want to build a sustainable art career and want to be able to basically support themselves through their work, you're essentially running a business of sorts. It's you're an entrepreneur as well as an artist. So, as an artist, as a creative, I can understand the need to want to break free from the crowd. However, there are certain things that you should keep in mind before we do that. And I'm not saying that building a personal brand is not important. Of course it is. We spent 45 minutes last time talking about it, but there is a little step before that. So everybody wants to be this guy, but first, let's think about points of parity. So, points of parity are basically the minimum requirement that it takes for you to compete in the market. So, like I said, in every industry you go into, including the creative industry, there are a lot of people who want to become artists, who want to support themselves as artists, who want to be the greatest artists in the world. There's a lot of competition. However, in order for you to compete in that playing field, for you to be provide a service to people, art patrons who are looking for your work, what is the minimum requirement? That needs to be established before you move on to your points of parity. So I have a few stuff here. This is more for artists who are looking to build an online business. So one would be a working, well-functioning, user-friendly website. Another would be, proper shipping. Like if you don't have a proper means to ship your artwork to your clients or like deliver them in a safe way, then it's unlikely that that client is going to buy from you again, and it's unlikely that they're going to refer you to other people. There are also a lot of online websites focus on the fact that people have clear and different payment options. And also when it comes to price point, if you are providing your artworks as a price point for the audience that you're trying to reach. Now, if you're trying to reach a customer base that has quite a lot of money, then you have to also price your artworks like that. If you want to reach a audience like if you want to create more affordable art for the everyday person, then you have to also price your art according to that. So this would be points of parity. First, you need to meet the standard of like the minimum standard of what is required to play the game. And then we move on to point of difference. This is where you win. This is where people choose you over everybody else. And there could be a lot of reasons why people do that. Art, especially, creative industry, especially, very, very subjective. So, I have listed some things, but of course, since I am personally not an artist, I think you can kind of sit down and think about what distinguishes you as an artist compared to, let's say, the next person after you have reached the bare minimum standard of what is required for you to be a functioning artist who is selling their work. So maybe you have a distinct medium that you use that is quite rare, not a lot of people use it. Maybe you have a distinct technique. In our last workshop, we spoke about Andrea Erhet's intuitive abstract art painting. There's a lot of abstract artists. There's a lot of different types of beautiful abstract art. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other. However, for Andrea, that is the art style that you can see repeated in her work, and it has done really, really well for her. So of course, if somebody does not like abstract art at all, that she's not going to reach that person. And frankly, she shouldn't be trying to reach that person. However, for the people who do love abstract art, maybe her intuitive abstract painting style or her live painting performances are that extra little, give like that extra little push for people to buy from her as opposed to a different abstract artist. It could also be a unique backstory, maybe, certain subjects in your portraits, maybe certain, I don't know, artworks have this meaningful backstory, and if they are communicated in a manner that resonates with the customer, then of course they're going to be pulled towards it a lot more. And yes, I also left a little blank because I'm not sure, I think it's a very personal thing. It takes a lot of, I would really encourage you to think about the questions that I asked in the last workshop about what, like building your own brand, about what distinguishes you and all of that, for you to arrive at an answer that would be a point of difference for you. But again, everybody wants to be different, everybody wants to be special, and it's not to say that you are not. However, there are certain standards as a business owner for you to reach before focusing on the points of difference. So, point number 2 that I would like to focus on today. This is a very famous quote from Jeff Bezos, and there's a lot of different like wordings of it, but I think this does the job. Your brand is what people say when you're not in the room. So yeah, I mean, anybody could say to your face, just to spare your feelings, that yeah, your work is nice, this, that, blah, blah. However, will they buy from you? That's, if they genuinely, honestly, inside don't really feel that much of a pull towards your work, then it's unlikely that they're going to buy from you. And you can't really always tell. But you see, you can't really always tell what people really think about you when you're not in the room. Now, recording people when you're not in the room is very illegal. So I would please encourage you to not do this. There's a little joke here for you. However, there is a technique called brand association mapping. So yes, spying on people, no. Using brand association mapping, yes. Now, let me walk you through what brand association mapping is. So brand association mapping is a technique that a lot of marketers use. It's a very effective technique. It's a very well-known technique in the marketing community. And it just does, as the name suggests, it maps out the associations that people have with your brand, basically. So we create this mind map of different adjectives of how people view your brand. It is a very simple but very proven method, and it's also a good way to kind of not only see how people would view your brand, instead of spying on them, but also recognize, I wanted people to think that I am A, however, they seem to think that I'm B. So, what is it in my marketing or branding efforts that I am kind of coming off as B instead of A? So let me dive a little deep into this and talk and provide you some examples from a marketing perspective. So memories are interconnected. I'm not sure if you've noticed, if you're having like a bad day, then you remember a lot of bad memories also from the past that have nothing to do with today, that have nothing to do with the events of whatever happened today. However, you know, when you're in an angry mood, you seem to remember everything that makes you angry. So memories, our memory at least, is very, very interconnected. So, you know, one pulls on the other. And that is basically the basis for brand association mapping, because maybe when I think about, I don't know, Coca-Cola, like the idea of red, or the idea of party or Christmas, or I don't know, family, depending on I used to drink a lot of Coca-Cola during my holidays, where I spent a lot of time with my family. They come very automatically to my brain. So we're going to leverage that to basically visualize it and see how we can use that to, you know, build our brand further, or have a better understanding of the brand that we've already built. So these are some like quite blurry but very good examples about some brand associations of other companies, like more companies. So let's look at this one. So the Volkswagen Beetle, you know, people have a lot of different associations. This was done from an actual study. So a lot of people think about German car because Volkswagen, and then good winter car. Maybe they have heard about things. Maybe they used to own one. Fun to drive, easy to park, inexpensive. So these are like the associations that people have, relatively positive associations, it seems. So, you know, this, if Volkswagen wanted their Beetle car to come off as fun, then they're definitely doing a good job, because a lot of people are saying that it's fun to drive. If they want it to come off as luxury, but a lot of people say that they're inexpensive, then clearly they're doing something wrong. Same goes for Sony over here. I'm not sure you can see because it's quite blurry. However, you know, Sony says luxury, product quality, trustworthy brand, social factors, product styling, product reliability, not value for money. So like, a lot of people associate Sony with quality. Some people don't. So, you know, maybe Sony has to think about, why is it that some people still don't think that it is, you know, worth the price? A lot of people associate with luxury. If Sony is trying to be the every man's brand, you know, if they want to be in every household and they want to be accessible and affordable, then they're clearly doing something wrong over here. So you have to think about things like that. I have one more, also a very blurry example. I don't know why I can find a lot of like proper ones, but Nescafe. So when you think about Nescafe, what do you think? I personally think very portable, because when I'm at home or when I'm at work, I drink from a coffee machine. However, whenever I'm traveling, you know, I have like little Nescafe sachets. Now, this cannot be an association for everybody, I understand, but it's an association for me. And I think a lot of people would agree with me, because it says everywhere over here. So yeah, cheap, quick, instant, you know, brown, boring, affordable, convenient. Again, if a Nescafe is trying to, you know, come off as quick, cheap, you know, gets the job done, then they're doing a great job. If they're trying to come off as a like experience that you're having when you're drinking coffee, then they're, well, maybe they're not doing as good of a job. Their marketing team is not doing as a good of a job as they were hoping to. So I hope this makes brand association mapping a little bit clearer. Most of the time, it doesn't look like this. It looks like this. So you put your brand, your name in the middle, and basically you think about, like, depending on who's doing it, you think about you put the associations around it. You don't have to worry about the second tier associations because that is not really necessary, as you guys are not marketers. However, just having the first degree of associations is actually very good to have. So let's talk about practically how you can use brand association mapping into your art business. This is maybe a little bit of a lengthy technique. However, I promise you that it will give you a lot of insight into your personal work and like how your branding efforts are doing essentially. So step one is to make your ideal brand association map of yourself, your brand, or your work. So you put your brand in the middle. For me, it would be Parikrama. And then, I want people to view me as funny. I want people to view me as intelligent. I want people to view me as, or view my work as, I don't know, quality A-tier work or something like that. So I would put this all around me, like all around the name in little bubbles. Then what I do next, step two, is ask your friends, previous clients, teachers, the more the better. The more the better. I would recommend at least 10 to 15. If you can do more, to describe your work in maybe like 5 adjectives or something like that. Like you can also do a questionnaire about like, oh, how does my artwork make you feel? What does my artwork remind you of? Try to go for adjectives because adjectives give you a much more clearer idea. And then basically, kind of assess those results. So in step 3, that's where we assess those results. And that's where you'll see a lot of synonyms. Like not everybody's going to use the same word, right? Maybe some people will say good, like it's like good work. Maybe other people will say nice work, but that essentially it means the same thing. So put those words together. So like, into like, don't count them as 2 separate associations, count them as one. So like I've given an example here. If someone says your work is optimistic, or like, it makes me feel optimistic, and another person says that your work is feel good or makes me feel good, don't count them as 2 different associations. Count them as, okay, 2 people said my work is optimistic, not optimistic and feel good. And then you can kind of see like the most repeated adjectives. If like among 10 people, 8 people say, your work is very optimistic, and 2 people don't say anything, or they say that you're negative or whatever, your work is pessimistic, then that for most people it comes off as optimistic. Now, beware of the biases that people have for you. Obviously, friends, family want to spare your feelings, and they'll probably have positive associations. However, sometimes it's also healthy to, kind of ask for the truth. So try to get as honest answers as possible. And so basically, create the map that is from all the feedback that you've received from your friends, your artist community, your clients, your teachers, whoever, and compare that to the initial association map that you had made for yourself. So this makes it very clear, like how you want to be viewed by your clients, your customers, whatever, and how people are actually viewing your work. Like how similar are they? The more similar they are, the more that you're coming off the way that you want. Therefore, your branding efforts are really working. They're making sense. They're consistent. They're being communicated properly to the audience. And now if they are very different, then I think there's one of two ways. You can either choose to lean into that, or you can change your branding efforts to kind of make it into something that you originally wanted. However, like, I can't really tell you what to do in that situation, because it's ultimately a decision that you have to make, and of course it depends from situation to situation. So the final part of today's presentation will be focused on using data. Now, I know that this is not essentially branding. It is a bit more marketing than branding. However, there is this very interesting idea that, like, some people are left-brained, some people are right-brained, and whoever is left-brained or right-brained, I don't really know, is more creative, and whoever is left-brained or whatever, the opposite is more analytical or whatever. I mean, I do understand that there are a lot of analytical people who have difficult time with creativity, and there's a lot of creative people who have quite difficult time with, well, technical subjects or math or whatever in class. However, to be able to run a successful business, to be able to support yourself from it, you need to be able to read data. Because data tells you what is going on, what your people are thinking. You cannot go from person A to person B to person C, whoever, like, you meet on the street, and ask them how, to write 5 words for your art. Like, that's not possible. However, you can make use of the data that is available to you. And so, like I said over here, data is your friend, not your foe. I promise. I know it's scary, maybe to a lot of artists. If it's not, then I'm glad, because I think this is a myth. Marketing being my profession, it constantly challenges both my creative side as well as my analytical side. So I think just having basic knowledge about how your Instagram is performing, how your website is performing, how, like, other places, or like how your Pinterest is performing or how your TikTok is performing, is very, very, very healthy to have. So here are some little examples about how you can use data in your daily life. So, like, let me just read you out one example. Impressions on Instagram. So impressions are not just impressions. So, like, of course, it's nice to have a lot of page views, it's nice to have a lot of people engaged with your content. However, like, you could also see it as, this is an indication of, I mean, if you're getting a lot of impressions, this is an indication of good content quality. But it could also be an indication that your content is reaching the right people. Because if I am not interested in abstract art, and I see an abstract art post in my feed, I'm not going to engage with it. Doesn't mean that your post is not good quality, doesn't mean that your artwork is not great, doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the captions or whatever. However, it does mean that no matter what, I will not be interested in it. Now, the algorithm supports you in this, because TikTok, Instagram, whatever algorithms are very good at knowing what the users want. However, it's good to kind of inquire into why something is doing well, why something is doing not. Like, for example, you get a lot of website clicks via Instagram. However, there are no sales. Like, there could be a number of reasons why that happens. Like, maybe, you're getting, like, those are bot clicks. That could happen. That happens a lot. The internet is not a very safe place. Maybe the website was too confusing to use. Maybe the price point was too high for a lot of customers. That would indicate that, on your Instagram, you come off as a more affordable brand versus like on your website, the prices are not low, so that might require you to change your branding to like more luxury, like maybe you change your bio to kind of indicate, that it is a pricier brand. Maybe the look of the Instagram versus the look of the website is very, very different. And so you're attracting the wrong customers. I don't know. So it's really important to be able to think about what the data means, and it's important to kind of change things around constantly to see if they improve or they don't improve. I know this is not something that everybody wants to do, especially artists. However, I think it is crucial for you to learn to do this in order for you to track your progress and in order for you to see your, like, what exactly is going on and why people are behaving or not behaving the way that you want. So lastly, I want to say, like, it's not an easy process to think about all of these things, to think about whether the associations that you're making is like if the associations are making sense, or if how legacy brands do it and blah blah. I don't really know, like, how am I supposed to create and be true to myself and be creative and also, I don't know, track all of these analytics and all of that. I know it's a long process. However, I would encourage you to not be discouraged. It's infinite, like marketing, branding, branding yourself in the right way. Even your favorite companies, even companies who are well known for their brands, they're not really experts. It's probably chaos in their offices as well, and it's not like they get it right 100% of the time. The most important thing is to not stop, don't stop experimenting with different stuff, and eventually it clicks, and people will start paying more attention to your work. So I know it's been a lengthy process, but thank you for sticking with me. I appreciate the help. I hope that you were able to learn something from these workshops, and thank you.
Thank you for an informative and in-depth insight, Barry. I just want to close off this session with that we are sponsored by Visegrad, and I hope to see you all next time. And thank you again, Pari, for making an appearance. Thank you very much. Okay.
Absolutely no
Bye,
problem.
all.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.